来，这边不要随意走动，两边不要随意走动，谢谢。Thank you. The first frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan's break.
Day 3 of Snooker's International Championship in Nanjing, China. Ronnie O'Sullivan once again centre stage in this session. He's already beaten Mick Nutcher and He Guochang. Standing in his way today, Panh Junxu, the world number 26, recent semi-finalist in Belfast. And Neil folds alongside me. We thought He Guochang might be a tough opponent. O'Sullivan, in the end, though, came through pretty comfortably, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he played pretty well against a very promising opponent. And, of course, in Panh Junxu, you've got the same. Somebody playing well, as you pointed out. He's been in good form. And what a shot to start with. But he has been in excellent form. Took Karen Wilson close in Northern Ireland. Had a good win, as you mentioned, against Elliot Slesser, who had also been playing well. So a lot points to this being another difficult match for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And I agree that he did look sharp yesterday in the end. He played the usual attacking brand of snooker, O'Sullivan. Didn't sort of hold back or anything like that. He was the more positive player in the end of the two. And we'll see how this one goes. But it's a very interesting game. There's a lot to like about Panh Junxu, the style of player, how hard he works, how he's progressing, slowly but surely. It was an outstanding opening red, wasn't it, that he knocked in there and screwed back. And now he's at the other end of the table. And not a flair player, but, as I say, very organised, very still on the shot.
14.
Yes, and one of 10 Chinese players in this round. It's the round of 32, so it's basically a third of the field.
15.
Of course, he beat Neil Robertson in Belfast in the quarterfinals. That was a terrific finish, the way he won the last two frames. And made it tough for Wilson, Karen Wilson. 6-4 it was to Karen there.
Well, he had a couple of very narrow defeats in the space of a few days earlier, didn't he? The English lost to Mark Selby, lost to Chris Wakelin as well. In fact, the Wakelin match was in the English, where he was a long way in front in the decider, missed an easy ball, was beaten
23.
right at the end on the last black, and he did the same against Selby. He was a mile in front of the decider. Selby cleared to win it from 50 plus behind. And that happened in the space of a few days, so I suppose what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it seems like he's regrouped. Had that win that Dave just mentioned in a close finish, so you've got to learn from your defeats and come back a more powerful player. I think he's capable of doing that.
30.
I don't think he's got any interest in trying to reach across and play that red to left corner that he's close to. So he's running away, playing safe. And he is capable of keeping O'Sullivan out away from the table because he's fairly deliberate in his style.
Yeah, he just, when he was in there, just slightly overran red to black, left himself low, didn't finish nice on a red. Of course, he's coming on in a way to O'Sullivan's table, isn't he? Third day in a row he's been on this session, on this table, so he knows how it's playing. Wanting to avoid that green. Yeah, both matches, I think, was just a moment in the middle of the match where it seemed his concentration went a little bit, but he got it back both times. Remember, it was 4-3 at one point against Mink, but pulled away very, very impressively. fascinating session. I mean, John Higgins, Matthew Stevens, which is out on table 5, that was the UK Championship final 26 years ago. And here they are in Nanjing all these years on, playing each other again.
Not this time, and actually it wasn't a very well played shot, because the cue ball, had the red gone in, would have been lost below the black, and he wouldn't necessarily have been able to continue the break.
One.
Yes, he looked dangerous yesterday, O'Sullivan, which of course he's got everything, hasn't he? But there's no getting away from it. His strength has always been his ability to score heavily. The greatest break builder we've ever seen. So that's where his game is. All the other parts of it just an add-on to that. And he was scoring well. He scored well in his first match against McNichorat, but I think he played better yesterday. It was more of a stern test, I felt, against Hugo Chang.
Yeah, I mean, scoring in general has been good in this tournament. 28 centuries we had yesterday, 18 on the first day, so it tells you that conditions are certainly favourable. And if they're favourable, then this man has got to be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I made the point yesterday that with the tables playing like this, if O'Sullivan stays in, he might sort of notch up his 16th maximum break if he wants to. He hasn't always shown much interest in it, but something of a drought, if you like, for him. 9 years since he last made one. That's in a professional match, of course.
15.
Because the tables are playing well and he looks to be in form. He's just got to ensure this black goes in. Slightly awkward queuing close to the red. And of course, with everything on, this has to drop.
Twenty-two. 23.
'Did something quite unusual yesterday in the interview with World Snooker Tour. He's actually talking himself up slightly, which is normally the opposite of what he does. Often very self-critical, but he was saying, in terms of sort of who the audience want to watch, that he ticks all the boxes, which I don't think you can argue with. In terms of how he plays and the kind of interest there is in him as a person as well, and obviously the record of success he's had. But he doesn't always speak about himself like that. Well, there you go. That pocket not big enough for that shot. He wasn't ideal on that black, was he? So Panh gets a golden chance here in this first frame.
Yeah, what a chance it is now. This really is one he has to take.
One. Eight. 9.
What an opportunity. It's not an awkward ball. Actually, I must correct something I said earlier. It's 6 years since O'Sullivan's last 147 competitively, not 9. But it was against Alan Taylor in the English. He's made one prior to that against Elliot Slessor, but there's been 63 since O'Sullivan's last, so it's still a long time by his standards, but not as long as I made out earlier. Anyway, back to this frame. There is a real determination about Panh Junxu, and he took him close in that World Championship match that Dave mentioned. It was 10-7 on debut. It was a really tough match for him to be playing O'Sullivan, of course. And that's a good shot to get on that red, because that could have gone wrong. It could have screwed to the side cushion there. Lead at 23, 22. So 2 reds and blacks will be certainly enough.
$23.
I think he prides himself on his cue ball control. I think he is a nice player when he's in amongst them. Beautiful shot. I think what he is, he's not the most gifted player coming through, but
30.
Sometimes that can work in your favour because he knows he has to put a lot of work in to get to where he wants to be. Sometimes the really gifted and talented players, they don't work very hard.
31.
He's a kind of contrast to someone like Si Wei in terms of just the aesthetics. By the way, C's won the first frame against Jack Lazowski. It takes all sorts, though, and if Panh pots this pink, it looks like he's won this frame, and O'Sullivan was nicely in. Left himself, it wasn't an absolutely regulation black. He's still sort of fancying for it, but he didn't pot it.
37.
And he's been punished. Would like this red in as well to kill the frame off for sure. Yeah, he's a dogged competitor, and he must be full of confidence after the run in Belfast to the semis. He also got to the last 16 in Riyadh at the Saudi Arabia Masters, which is a big money tournament. In fact, Si Wei beat him there 6-5.
$43. 45.
So Panh was in first. He went wrong, missed a long red, gave O'Sullivan a chance. O'Sullivan missed a black. Panh has done the rest, and he leads here in Nanjing 1-0. So Panh Junxu leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0 here in the last 32, day 3 of the International Championship. The winner will play Ali Carter or Jackson Page, and Page has won the opening frame there. John Higgins has an 85 break to win the first against Matthew Stevens as Panh gets the blue full in the face.
It's always annoying for both players, I think, when the blue gets knocked off his spot and onto the side cushion, but the fact that it's gone over the pocket obviously helps O'Sullivan greatly. I might have to pot it straight away here, given that kiss. It's a very important ball, the blue, when you are trying to make breaks. The fact when it's on its own spot is something you can go up and knock in. So have to track the cue ball and play down towards the red. Not an easy positional shot, this, in fact. It's so hard to control the cue ball.
6.
It's travelling that far. It's a tough one, this. Goodness, screwing into the bunch as well.
Seven.
That's where you have no control over where all the reds go. That's why he's not on the blue. So another good shot required to keep the break going early. That's nice cueing. That is an early examination of how he's hitting the ball, and he's passed it. And he's now absolutely in, because the red to right corner with the black to the opposite corner is a great opening.
Yeah, it could be a very costly break-off shot, that, from Panh.
10.
Well, it's always disappointing when you know, the shot that you play more than any other is the one that you get wrong. The break-off. Leaving your opponent such an early in, and you don't want to leave this man this sort of chance.
Semi-finalist here last year, well, not here, it was actually in another venue, but
17.
Zhang Anda beat him. Of course, it is a two-session match, beat him 9-6.
18.
Had a lot of success in Shanghai over the years, but would like to start winning these tournaments. He's here as the promoter's pick. I think that's excusing having to play the first round in the UK. It makes complete
25.
sense. We saw all the people he brought certainly on day one
26.
in terms of tickets.
$33.
Yes, I mean, on that, of course, Judd Trump had to play a qualifier, which I didn't really agree with that. It seemed unfortunate. Wouldn't have been world number one, perhaps, at the time, but it seemed, thankfully, from the, I guess, the promotion of the tournament it's concerned, he got through that qualifier in the UK. It would have been a loss to the tournament
41.
had he not done so. Anyway.
42.
He's got to keep that cue ball in the centre of the table here. Little soft stun shot. Nicely played.
Keeping Ivy,
49.
the referee on the toes here, is playing at some speed. He's actually the fastest player on tour this season, 16.3 seconds, which is slightly quicker than when he arrived in Nanjing. He was 16.5, so it just shows you his first two matches. When he's been in this sort of position, he's just been as quick as ever.
Yes, and he doesn't look as quick as someone like a Tepchara Nu or one or two others. It's just that, and we always say it, but it is true, his cue ball is under such
56.
control that there isn't a lot to think about between shots. When you're on the next ball perfectly all the
57.
time, as he is on this occasion.
$64. $65.
So, within a matter of minutes, we're at frame ball. Panh Junxu broke off, he caught the blue full, and that was it from his
72.
perspective, his only involvement in this frame.
73. $80. $81.
Yeah, well, a lot will depend on this next shot as to whether he knocks up another century. That's a shame, but he'll be pleased with that break all the same.
81. And the break.
Well, it just went by in the blink of an eye, didn't it, that frame? 81, really punishing the error from Panh, and we're all square at one each. Catching the blue. Best of 11 still to reach the last 16 of the International Championship. sure Paul Collier's watching this with interest because he's tournament director at the Champion of Champions next week, and we know the groups. We don't know who's going to play what day because there's still, well, effectively 12 players in this event who are going to be in that one. So he'll be crossing them off as and when they are knocked out, because that's being played in Bolton, which is not near Nanjing.
Smashing long pot.
One.
Cue just drifting to the side cushion, but he knocked it in so cleanly.
Six. Seven.
Again, nicely played. With the black available to one pocket. It could be that the red just below and to the right of the black will also go into that pocket, and if you could get on it at some point, clearly that would open things up. And it absolutely flies in that red. He can't play on it here. There seems to be a little bit more of a determined feel to Panh Junxu in this match than in previous occasions when he played O'Sullivan, and I've never felt like he would win, even though he's been, you know, fairly close. But maybe he's an improved player now. Maybe he can win today if he continues in the way he's going. He looks like he wants to keep O'Sullivan off the table for length of time. Played that well also, running through onto the black into the same pocket he just knocked it into there.
22. 23.
That was one way of getting the black cleared. Beautiful cannon. Played gently but with control.
30.
Just to say, John Higgins has had made breaks of 85 and 133 to go 2-0 up against Matthew Stevens, who's yet to pot a ball there. So what a start for the Wizard of Wishaw. I did think, and I understand why they said it last weekend after the Northern Ireland final, you know, we've got to move on from the class of 92. They can't last forever, which is true. I did think, I bet one of them wins it this week, one of the three of them, because that's the sort of thing they would do. Ronnie, Mark or John.
Well, the problem with that, though, I agree with you, and you know, Mark Williams said that had he won in Saudi, he wouldn't have played in very much for the rest of the season, or only the ones he had to play, and he wouldn't have played in everything. So, you know, it's almost like some of the times you look at the class of 92 and they're still right up there, but it's almost they're reluctantly still up there and they're still good players.
Well, he said that, but day one of the tournament, I saw him and he said, "Oh, I don't want to get my cue out, I can't be bothered," and all this. And he got to the final. In fact, he probably should have won. So that's what he said. We will never know if he'd have carried through.
No, he has said a few things like that. Overcut quite markedly there. So 38 from that visit is not going to hurt O'Sullivan greatly.
One. Three. Four.
Yeah, you got too much into the centre of the bunch there. Normally the very best
11.
breaking them. If you hit the left-hand red, he would have opened them up and not been stuck in the middle of them. So he'll be annoyed with that shot. He's usually the best in the business at getting the cluster of reds opened up. On this occasion, though, it's not worked out for him. Didn't have a pot available.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 11.
On table 2, Judd Trump has levelled up with Joe O'Connor, who made a 1-3-6, a total clearance in frame 1. Ali Carter's levelled up with Jackson Page, 1 each. The winner will play whoever comes through here. Mark Selby's a frame down to Noppin Senkarm. Sean Murphy 1 each with Chris Wakelin. Jack Lazowski 1 each with C. Joel Witt. It's a bit of an embarrassment of riches today. They're all really good games, I think. Gary Wilson's won the first against Robbie Williams. John Higgins, as I say, 2-0 over Matthew Stevens.
So both players have been in once with a meaningful chance. I think Pang's was a better opportunity, actually. Sullivan didn't get the reds open, but there's still all to play for in this frame. Oh, this is a beautiful safety shot. Look at this for a shot. Oh, that is outstanding. He played it with a little bit of right-hand check side. It's a very well-played safety shot. Could be that Panh Junxu can get across to one of the reds. Again, that's a very probing safety shot from O'Sullivan. He's not just got the cue ball back down the other end. You know, he's put Panh in a world of trouble here again. So that side of his game is sometimes goes unnoticed, not always, but he's played 2 outstanding safety shots in a short period of time here to put Panh in a lot of trouble. Looking for a thin contact here. Difficult shot to play, and he's played it ever so well. That is always a hard shot. Now, can O'Sullivan put him in more trouble on this occasion? He had to kind of risk the pink going safe, which wouldn't suit Ronnie, 27 behind, but look at that cue ball again. This is excellent.
Yes, I mean, if he's in the mood to play this game, he can play it to a very, very high standard. He's got all the awareness in the world. Hasn't always, let's be honest, been in the mood to play it, but seems to be here. So he just came round the back of the red. Oh yes, he made contact, but he left a pot on, and Sullivan not able to get on a colour, but he seems to have got his teeth into this exchange here.
He didn't want to get the pink and black in play because he's behind in the frame. He wouldn't want to just play up the table and leave them where they are locked down. In a way, that's... Well, I mean, it's an absolutely outstanding shot, isn't it? But didn't quite get him behind the brown, but he has opened up pink and black. He's actually got him on the ropes here. I know he's in front, Panh, but he's putting him in plenty of bother.
Judd Trump, meanwhile, is going to be 2-0 up on 2-1 up on Joe O'Connor, who made a total clearance 136 in frame 1, but Trump's dominated since.
O'Sullivan forced that error from Panh Junxu, albeit it is not an easy opening red at all from there. It's just not a very nice shot to be dropping that in from on the side cushion rail, so that'll annoy Ronnie because he actually won all the battles there, but he might not win the war, so to speak, in this frame. Pang's got a chance to sort of come about, albeit not easy for him either, with the pink tied up. If he could take 3 red blacks or 3 reds with high value colours, he'd be on track to get the frame one. They go in comfortably down that bottom cushion, clearly. Yes, he played the cannon very measured. Didn't put too much force into it. Not a great deal could go wrong there. Interesting frame, isn't it? It looks as if Pang should go on and get it won. He was outmanoeuvred in the middle of it, but it didn't amount to anything because O'Sullivan missed that red. That's one thing, winning the safety battles, but you've got to follow it up clearly with a scoring chance when it comes your way. I mean, no one knows this better than O'Sullivan. But the red he was left was not an easy one.
16.
Yes, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, he may not have played in Northern Ireland, but he would have kept an eye on results. He knows what's going on. He knows about Pang and his strengths and the fact that he's full of confidence right now.
I mentioned earlier that those couple of matches he lost very narrowly to Wakelin and Selby, 50 plus in finding the decider in both. Who knows what kind of season he might have had, because he's been pretty good in and around those defeats. He's a player that's absolutely knocking on the door. And
25.
if he knocks in any colour here, barring Snookers, he'll lead 2-1. Snooker's required. It's interesting, actually. I saw the interview he did in Northern Ireland through a translator. There were subtitles, and it said that he didn't actively seek out snooker. He kind of was introduced to the game. It wasn't something he, as a youngster, particularly wanted to do. But since he has had the chance, he's put everything into it.
Well, they played in Wuhan last year. At this round, actually, the last 32, he led 4-3, Pang. That was best of 9. Ronnie produced one of his sort of grandstand finishes, made a century and another big break to win 5-4. But he's given him a good match already. At the Crucible, he came back at him. That was the opening day, wasn't it? In the 2023, he was on his debut there. So it doesn't seem overawed playing O'Sullivan. And let's be honest, a lot of players are, including players higher up the rankings than Panh Junxu.
Good effort to remove the red. Not that it means a great deal. He's won the frame long since.
40.
Yeah, O'Sullivan seemed to have won the little safety battle, but he missed that tricky red. This could be in yet, this red. Not quite, but Pang has put together a solid break. And so He's back in front. Let's hope from his perspective he plays a better break-off shot in frame 4 than he did in frame 2. He played in frame 2. He caught the blue full in the face, so Sullivan made 81. So he's 2-1 up Panh, but needs a better one.
He may not have hit the blue, but he has left a long red that O'Sullivan will not be refusing.
One.
And as you can see, when the cue ball came to rest, it's coming between shots a little. Got into the white a little too much there. I'll be annoyed by that. I mean, he knocked in an important blue, but somehow has not finished on a red. He doesn't surely want to play anything too risky. I think he considered screwing the red he's closest to into the left corner, be annoyed to finish in that position and have to play something of a nothing shot after such a good opening red. I think if O'Sullivan got to the mid-session at 2 each, he'd be more than happy with that on the run of play. His Panh's been pretty good. Even great players will be happy with a certain scoreline at the mid-session if you can get things level, depending on what has happened in the first few frames itself. Playing second fiddle here, O'Sullivan, there's no doubt.
Pang Junxu, 4.那个摄影棚那边如果不拍照的话，麻烦离开。
Well now, yes, there's a red on, and it's a long way from cue ball to object ball, and that cue ball is then going to go across the table pretty much into the unknown as to where it'll finish.
One.
It's a problem, you have no control over it. And he clearly has got very little that he can do that's meaningful here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Selby's pulled a frame back. He was 2-0 down to Noppin Sengham. He's won the third frame. Jackson Page 2-1 up on Ali Carter. Of course, it could be O'Sullivan Carter again, possibly in the next round. Might be neither of them. A lot of big names still going, but we've seen players come through the pack. Zhao Gudong did it in Wuhan. Of course, he's playing Mark Allen later. Shangan did it in this event last year.
That is a beautiful shot. Well, that's the best he's hit, I think, the whole of the week. I mean, it's a long range, just off straight, and the cue ball has gone exactly where he meant it to go. So excellent from O'Sullivan in that last one. You saw from the overhead the black very clearly goes to the left corner, which I think he'll have already spotted, and he'll be playing on it from this next red. But he probably would like an angle on the black to perhaps disturb the reds directly above it. Just clear the decks for the black to both pockets. And this is where
7.
anyone trying to learn how to build breaks should watch O'Sullivan, because the balls are not always starting off in great positions, but they usually end up in pretty good shape.
14.
Well, I don't think he wanted to play this right-hand red, but it might be that that's a good way of getting the black in play to both pockets. Whether he can reach across, play it left-handed to get to it, I'm not certain. Be a real asset if he could reach this. Yep. That's where being ambidextrous is such a huge asset. That would have been a wretched, difficult shot, using the rest leaning across.
Just as he played the shot, you could see Joe O'Connor in the background potting a yellow. He's made another century, so he's made 2, but he's 2-all with Judd Trump. A great start for Joe, but still only level.
Twenty. $23.
Just overscrewed a little bit there. Clearly wanted to be on the red he's actually going to play, but can't avoid a little cannon here on the pink.
24.
So now he's just trying to chase the break again. Wrong side of the blue. Brown could be in the way, coming round the angles if he isn't careful. No, he's played it beautifully. Beautifully.
$29. $30. 35. $36.
Might have to be the black now. Quite a thin pot this, and might be able to play a little cannon to stop the cue ball travelling too far down the table, and that is as good as it gets. Could have gone wrong in so many different ways, that shot. He could have missed it, the pot,
43.
or dropped out of position. None of those things happened.
44.
His phone alert's going off, but not distracting O'Sullivan while he's in business here. And the phone continues to
51.
ring, but
52.
this is frame ball.
Yeah, if it's the barman, tell them you're on your way because they're about to go to the interval. This has been a terrific break because it was by no means straightforward, but he's manoeuvred this cue ball very nicely indeed, and it sets it up nicely for us for the second half.
It does, a terrific break in many ways. The opening red was an absolute gem
60.
that he knocked in at long distance. And like you say, it's not been easy all the way through it.
He looks very keen, doesn't he? I mean, he was keen in the safety battle. OK, in the last frame he lost that battle, but in terms of just his general approach, in all areas he's switched on, he's concentrating.
67.
Panh Junxu has put him under it, but O'Sullivan has responded. Didn't always sort of enjoy travelling to China. He didn't always play in these tournaments, but that's changed now, and he always speaks very well about them, and was saying yesterday how much he was enjoying Nanjing, so wants to stay here as long as he can.
$83. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, the two frames he's won have been with big breaks, 81 and 83. Panh Junxu has also played well, so it's a good match this, and it's set up perfectly for everybody watching because they go to the interval all square at 2-2. Remember, 6 frames required. Best of 11, the winner plays Ali Carter or Jackson Page in the last 16 of the International Championship here in Nanjing tomorrow. It's 3-1 to Page there at their interval. John Higgins is 4-0 up against Matthew Stevens, who has not made much of a dent in that match. He's only scored 23 points. Mark Selby was 2-0 down to Noppin Senkan, but has fought back to 2 each at their interval. A lot of very interesting matches here today. It's always been a big tournament, this. I mean, it's not been, obviously been on the calendar that long, it's only the 10th staging, but I think just the fact that the matches are slightly longer, best of 11, just gives it that little bit of extra prestige.
I mean, we were saying earlier on that he has competed with O'Sullivan in the 3 matches they've played without beating him, Panh Junxu. I suppose it's like anything else, really, until you do beat him. And he will always be the sort of the benchmark for a player. Can you beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in a ranking event, big event? Till anyone has done it, of course, they're not sure how it's going to feel and whether they can get over the line. Well, I think Panh Junxu would be able to. Although he has faltered a few times close to the winning line this season. But it would give him a lot of confidence if he could get the win. He's certainly in all the exchanges, you know. He's not being out-thought particularly. There was a safety battle that O'Sullivan did win, but everything else, he's competing well. Good shot. He played the two-in-one shot, the plant, but the cue ball, if anything, has gone too well for him. He wanted it back there, but he didn't know the plant was a certainty. So he thought it out nicely, that last shot. Now what's he going to do, though? Clearly, a roll up to a colour is not an easy shot to play either. He's got the red up there, so there's a few problems here for him.
Green ball.
Nominated the green. I think he's trying to get the cue ball at the black end of the table. Unusual shot to be playing, but
Pang Junxu.
under the circumstances, probably all he could have achieved. Yeah, I mean, he's not frightened to take on the shots. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it went wrong. He might have thought that if he had missed this red, he wouldn't leave it, but he has. It's gone back towards the cue ball, the red. I think O'Sullivan there was... A lot of thought had gone into the cue ball, and maybe the pot just went out of his mind a little bit.
One.
So what can he make of this opportunity? I mean, the Reds are fairly tightly grouped. It's not necessarily a frame-winning chance just yet.
Eight.
So important playing Ronnie O'Sullivan, and it's not easy to do, but to sort of stand tall and not show that you are overawed, and he isn't, clearly. Because it is a different experience, I think, with such focus and big crowd, just the aura of your opponent. I mean, play like Alexander Ursenbacher, I mean, he's sort of down the rankings, but he traditionally has handled it really well. He's beaten him 3 times, but we know there are some top players who got very poor records against him.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Erstenbach is a very good player, but the most remarkable thing about that is almost not so much he beats O'Sullivan, but he doesn't seem to beat anybody else. And he's a good player, don't get me wrong. It's not meant as a criticism, he's a terrific player, but I'm more surprised about his lack of other results and the fact that he's able to beat the likes of O'Sullivan.
16.
Just concentrating very hard as he does, Panh Junxu. He doesn't take shots lightly, you know. Every shot is almost an event for him.
Yeah, there's 10 seconds between them on the average shot times in this match. I just had a look at that. O'Sullivan 18 seconds, Panh 28. Now, in fairness, he's not really
21.
made any big breaks yet, no half centuries, but he's a more methodical player. But it doesn't matter if the balls are going in.
I mean, I don't really think of him as a slow player in that, you know, he's not indecisive and taking an age to make his mind up. But he's fairly slow on the actual shot itself. He's down on the shot a long time before he hits the ball.
$29. $30.
Absolutely perfect. So is he playing on the loose red, or is he seeing a plant in the bunch? Which means he mightn't have to go into them at all if that's the case. He's interested in the 2 reds at the top of the group of 7 there. There it is. 2 reds are far enough apart to make it a plant. That's what he thinks anyway. Lovely shot. Again, good cue ball.
$41. $42.
So just looking to land back on a red here, and then have a good lead with not that much more to do to win the frame.
I don't initially think he played up on the pink there, but he went too far for the blue, and it's worked out in his favour. There's still a bit to be done, though. Play a little nudge on the other couple of reds here in screwing back up the table.
$49.
Yeah, so now he's got these reds into play with the lead he's got. He'd be disappointed not to win the frame here as he attempts to go in front for the 3rd time. I guess he's quite high on that list now, isn't he? The players yet to win a ranking title. I mean, he's quite new to the tour, but he's been in a final already, Panh. He's been in a semi-final last week.
55.
Yeah, the only problem is, Dave, it seems that when those lists are drawn up, it's usually someone that's either not on the list or at the bottom of the list that goes on to win. Xiao Guidong, fine player, but I don't think anyone really thought he was about to win a ranking event when he did recently in Wuhan.
It's very true. And of course, Shangander last year here. I mean, he had been in the English Open final, but prior to that, he wouldn't have been anywhere near the list, really. Anyway, Panh is a couple of balls away from going back in front, and the significance is that this is now his best visit of the match. Doesn't give much away in terms of just his general manner. He just sticks to his task, concentrates on what he's doing, and it's been effective here.
I think you'll also note here that the frame, we know it's one, and he knows it as well, but he won't really speed up, or he won't do anything any differently. Played a nice shot there. Nice cannon. He won't all of a sudden speed up with the pressure off. He'll play every shot the same.
Just while we watch this, Robbie Williams has gone 3-1 up on Gary Wilson, who's not having the best season, but got to be said, Gary. 2-2 Sean Murphy and Chris Wakelin.
7-8.
Still 3-1 Lazowski over Si Jiahui.
$85.
So the double stays out, but a very solid 85 that from Panh, by far his highest break of the match. In fact, the highest break of the match. Is ahead for the third time at 3-2. The break was 85 from Panh Junxu to go 3-2 in front here against Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has played well in the two frames he's won, but he's been handed a bit of a stern test. It looked like it would be on paper. Of course, it doesn't always pan out that way, but just in terms of Pang's recent form and indeed their previous matches. Judd Trump is 3-2 down to Joe O'Connor on the other table, or on the other main table, that is. So two-star names just in a little bit of trouble at the moment.
Well, O'Sullivan's long game has looked good today. I mean, he potted a terrific red using backspin in an earlier frame. Frame 4, in fact, it was. He went on to make plenty from it. There's another good shot. This is a good contest between this pair. And that's a nice shot from O'Sullivan. Chance to get onto the black.
Six. $11. 12.
Yeah, getting on this red immediately.
19.
This is where O'Sullivan is always so good. That's the red he wanted out of the way, and he's made sure it is completely out of the way and in the pocket. Now, it's a question of how many he makes, I think. Table playing nicely. A bunch of reds that he'll need to open up, but other reds available until then.
27.
It's a terrific opening red, and that will give him confidence in his queuing, I think. Hasn't played a lot of snooker. He's on the eve of a number of tournaments, just decided not to play in them for health
35.
reasons. Has been cited, but
36.
clearly he spent some time away from the game practicing because he looked quite sharp. I know he's behind, but he's playing well enough. And that also is a very good shot. Look where he's finished.
43.
So now at the point where he's going to have to find a way of opening up the remaining reds. Well, the perfect angle to do so, and again, this went wrong earlier in the match. The left-hand red, I think, is the one he wants to be hitting, and that's what he has done. Usually gives him the best chance of being on something, but he isn't. That's easy anyway. He played that shot quite well.
59.
A big moment this, because 59 is good, didn't get any applause or anything, but he has left an immediate counter-attack opportunity for Panh Junxu.
Yes, and of course he's opened the reds up, so this is a serious moment in this match. If Panh could clear to go 4-2.
1.
He's looked very assured so far, but he knows this is a big, big visit.
Very well played. Anywhere there, he's got a choice of a couple of reds to the right corner. Now we're going to find out a little bit more about how he feels, because this is, for him to win a match like this, frames like this are the ones you have to pull out of the fire a little bit.
Five. Twelve. Searching.
Keeping it very simple there, playing on the pink, which means he's got the easiest positional shot for another red just below it. And your eyes immediately drawn to that left-hand red, close to where the referee's standing. Just that could be the key to the frame if you can get behind that one. The deficit of 40 points might not count for very much.
Twenty. $26. 27.
I suppose he could have played across to do some shifting of that other red, but he may feel confident that he can play on behind
33.
it. But there was an opportunity there on that last shot to play on the other red. The perfect angle on the pink.
$34.
But this time the angle would appear to just nudge it, as opposed to try and land behind the red to the middle pocket. I think he's been trying to just move it out. Oh, that's very well controlled. It was all part of the plan. Excellent.
40.
So it feels like he's done the hard work, but the work continues. He's got to put these away. What a chance he's got now to steal the frame and go too clear for the first time.
41.
Yes, and as you say, he should do it, although he's not on the blue quite right. He can't just hold for the yellow. He's going to have to use cushions here. The angle is not straight enough to just play him behind the yellow. So another test of his
46.
cueing. Just further behind the yellow than he would have wanted to be. Very good.
40.
Very nicely done. The whole break's been superb, actually.
Yes, I mean, as you pointed out, he has lost a couple of close ones this season, but he finished off very well against Neil Robertson to win the last two and win in the decider in Belfast. That was, of course, the last event.
51. $55. $60.
So the pink put him 7 in front. Pink and black for the frame. O'Sullivan took on that red to the yellow pocket. The reds are in the open. The question was, could Panh Junxu step in and make the clearance? Well, that pink wasn't exactly clean, but it's gone in.
Indeed. He stayed down on it for a reason. It was on perhaps other tables that might not have dropped. It would have been the only blemish in the break.
Ultimately, the answer to the question, could he make the clearance, is yes. Big moment. Proving his mettle once again. Panh Junxu moves 2 clear. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 4-2. Terrific clearance from Panh, and it's given him a 2-frame cushion. Remember, it's best of 11, so there's still potentially 5 frames to play, but O'Sullivan in a spot of bother here. Just the way that Panh took that clearance out, he would have observed just how good he looked. OK, did nearly miss the pink, but he didn't miss it and sank the black to get this 2-frame lead. John Higgins is 5-0 up in his match, so that's not close. He's 5-0 up to Matthew Stevens. see Joel Wees made a break of 119 to pull back to 3-2 down against Jack Lazowski.
Well, there's a mistake. He looked at it for a long time. He was unhappy with the shot he was faced with. The red on the right cushion, of course, they're always in the way on the way back up the table to baulk. Almost seemingly about twice the size, and you can't miss them. You're trying to miss a ball and head for safety, although he has got away with it. O'Sullivan's not on the red up the table. It was a mistake that's going to go unpunished from Panh Junxu. See Ronnie there getting the black into a slightly better position. He feels that he can outscore Panh Junxu. He probably feels that about most players he plays. But he's given him a long-range shot of his own here.
Just before he plays it, Joe O'Connor 4, Judd Trump 2. So on table 2, Trump also struggling a little.
Interesting way he played that shot. You know, he was looking to head back down the table as if he didn't fancy the pot. If he'd have played it just a hold for the blue, I suspect he wouldn't have missed it. You have to keep on pressing on with these chances when they come and not sort of go into his shell with this lead. He's played ever so well to lead 4-2, Panh Junxu.
Yes, I mean, we don't want to go too far down the this is a big frame route, because they're all going to be from now on, obviously. But if he were to make it 5-2, then clearly he's a big favourite. So O'Sullivan just trying to keep the pressure on. And we know, we've seen it many times, O'Sullivan very capable of winning frames quickly, and suddenly, you know, the match is done from a position where he looked like he was in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're sometimes guilty of talking about frames being bigger and more crucial than others, but of course, it's not so much that it's obvious that you have to win frames to get to 6. That's always going to be the target. It's the deficit and the moment in the match where a frame is won or lost. It can actually put a lot of pressure on the opponent. And he would certainly fancy the job. If he could get to 5-2, he'd have to.
Yes, the psychology is so interesting, isn't it? Because it's how you win frames. He didn't need 3 chances to win that last one. He needed the 1 chance he got, and O'Sullivan obviously would have noted that as well.
For the last few years, a lot of O'Sullivan's matches against younger opposition, not just Chinese or Asian players, but generally many of the younger brigade coming through playing him, and he hasn't always had to play at his best to beat them. A lot of players have been a little overawed by it, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case forever. Needs help here. He needs his cue ball to slip in behind the yellow. It's an amazing place for it to finish after that shot, because O'Sullivan will feel that maybe things aren't quite going his way. Well, the O'Sullivan shot could have also gone a lot worse than it has, because he made a mistake. Balls could have finished anywhere. Clearly what has happened is that the black has gone horribly tied up now. So if it's going to be that sort of a frame, it's going to not really suit either of these two. That was a good opening red from O'Sullivan from where he was placed the cue ball in the jaws of the pocket. Of course, Panh didn't feel that he would leave that red on. He looked for cover, didn't get it. So O'Sullivan does get a shot at the long red that he was denied the chance last time. Very straight on the yellow, so not a huge amount that Ronnie can do. Now, is he going to get the high value colours into play here is the question. Because without that, he can do well to get the frame one.
3. Green ball.
Well, it's the end of that. But I suppose he could lay a snooker, but the frame is going to be maybe a tactical one. Played it nicely and got the snooker, so that's, I think, scant consolation really from O'Sullivan, because he probably feels that the snooker's hittable. Should have done a little better with that chance, maybe. But he's under it now. He's feeling the pinch, I think, in this match.
Well, Matthew Stevens was certainly feeling the pinch. He was 5-0 down to John Higgins and having scored 31 points, but he's just made a century. So it's 5-1. 103.
Well, I didn't think that he was going to leave anything, but he played quite a poor and certainly an ill-directed shot from out of that snooker, with all the reds around the black that he could have nudged up to.
1. 7. 13. 14. 19. 20.
Well, I guess with all the safe reds, if you could get a lead of around 40 points, it would seem a sizable one in the context of an awkward frame. And that's probably what Sullivan's looking to achieve, because he'll be wanting more than that. But, you know, I mean, as good as he is, it's hard to think that he could get the frame one here without playing a few big cannons and a bit of a removal job of the safe reds. That was a kick. That's not helped matters. He's using the old chalk, I think, because a few chalk marks over the table and a few kicks being had.
33.
Ultimately, that kick has cost him here, you know. He won't change. He stays with the equipment he's been using for a long time. It's not a decisive lead, is it? 37-0. It's a handy advantage, but that's kind of about it.
To say, Robbie Williams 4-1 over Gary Wilson. These matches sort of coming to the boil, aren't they? He was going to stay there, wasn't he, to make sure he got the cover.
Yeah, but I think he's a pretty good shot. I mean, clearly the red should not have been quite so close to the pocket, but I'm sure the cue ball went as planned. He made a mistake on one of these escapes earlier in the frame and misjudged it quite badly. This one he has not done the same. That's fine.
Well, a chance to get in this frame. There's a lot of work to do, but this is the first step.
One.
Nice shot. This is his chance to claw his way back into the frame now.
7. Eight.
Yeah, he's proving to be a pretty stubborn customer, isn't he? Not just in this match, but in general. He sticks to opponents, getting a reputation as someone who's hard to beat, hard to play. Nice cue ball has travelled much further than he intended it to.
14.
Well, there's an element of uncertainty about this shot. I mean, what he mustn't do is miss the pot, because you can do that worrying about what's going to happen with all the cannons and collisions on the reds. I mean, that's the other thing. You don't know where the red's going to end up. Is it going to go into the pink? So he's opened them up, but really the next colour is a difficult shot with reds near pockets. Seems a lot to play for in this frame. Looks as if the brown is his shot of choice here. He's got to go in. He knew the importance of that shot, because he has that 22-point deficit. But with O'Sullivan with 3 open reds, he knows that O'Sullivan can win the frame without the requirement of the red that's very close to the black tying it up.
1.
Yeah, that was the value of O'Sullivan getting that lead in the first place. Not his sort of frame necessarily, but he needs frames on the board in this match.
7.
Indeed, I mean, it's not been a pretty frame, has it? Not as far as where the balls have gone, and the likelihood of a sizable break was never going to be. So it's one he's just got to get under his belt, and it looks as if he's going to. He will need one more red, though, to make it safe barring snookers.
14.
So looking like 4-3.
Always likely to get a double kiss on the red there and make it a difficult cannon. But it doesn't matter. He's knocked it in anyway, so we are down to 1 frame the lead again for Panh.
Yeah, it's boiling up to be a very exciting
29.
finish to this match. Panh, okay, missed the brown, but in general he stood up to this superbly well. O'Sullivan, though,
31.
is also digging in.
$34. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 34.
Far less significant missed brown than the one Panh did. He set up that chance for O'Sullivan to fight back and take the frame. So Pangh's lead is reduced to 4-3. And still possible 4 frames left. The winner plays Ali Carter or Jackson Page. It's 4-4 in that one. Big few weeks coming up, obviously. Champion of Champions next week, then the UK Championship. And for O'Sullivan, he'll be in Riyadh just before Christmas for the invitation event there, which is a big money tournament, of course.
比赛已经开始了。
Referee just asking for a little bit of decorum.
I'm not playing ball there at all with that last shot, not willing to take any risks. And if Ronnie can get up the table from here, is what he will try and put distance between the balls. I don't think Ronnie's ever been involved in that many re-racks. I mean, sure, there are a few over the years, but I can't think of many where he's doesn't very often engage with his opponent for long enough to do that. I think it's doesn't really tip him around very often. Yeah, that area on the table is quite congested down the right side, so there's the potential for a very probing safety shot to be played into that area. So this red is going to be pushed across as well now to that side.
Sean Murphy 3-3 now with Chris Wakelin. 2 players who had walkovers to get to this round. Well, he's finished good. I mean, he caught it maybe a little thinner than intended, but anyway, he'd be delighted with the result. Gary Wilson's pulled one back against Robbie Williams, but he is 4-2 down there. Mark Selby's edged in front 3-2 against Noppen Sengham.
Could be an interesting frame, this one, and a very important one again. But that was the shot I was saying earlier, where you leave only the right side to go and get direct contact to the red from. But how do you get the cue ball out of there with all the other balls in the way? And you could take on the red below the black, actually, but you also could try and drop onto one. That's what he's doing. A bit firmly played.
Yes, again a phone going off, and the referee sort of by this point in the match kind of pleading. It was sort of less angst early on, but now just asking people, because it's an important stage of the match. Obviously the players hoping to be able to concentrate. This is what Pang's looking at. Reds are kind of all covering one another. It's just one potable red.
Yeah, not easy, was it? And again, he's looking to end up down the other end of the table with the cue ball.
Well, Panh got distance between them, but it's a terrific pot again. The overhead really shows you how far the red was away from the pocket there. So his long game is in good shape, I think.
Six. Seven.
So can O'Sullivan get back scoring again? He's up to 81, 83 in terms of breaks in this match. The other frame he won, as we know, was far more sort of disjointed. That'll be the concern for Panh. We know O'Sullivan can step it up. It happened in that meeting in Wuhan last year. It was 4-3 down, best of 9, finished off with 2 big
13.
breaks. Judd Trump has won the 7th frame against O'Connor. It was 4-2 to O'Connor. Trump's won that one, so that's obviously another big hitter making it closer.
Yeah, boiling up nicely, as is this match. O'Sullivan, I don't know, it was a bit like the pink earlier on from Pang into that pocket at the end of his clearance to lead 4-2.
23.
He may not have thought that was in that black. It looked like it wriggled quite a lot in the jaws.
21.
He's pushing that right-hand red safe there. That's not helped him. That is really unlucky. That is terribly unfortunate. And he played it in quite a safe way, really. I mean, what he tried to do, he didn't want to just cannon the reds.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 21.
He really thought about the shot, and he pushed them out, and to knock it in, as we're going to see on this replay, it's a very unfortunate shot and a huge moment in the match.
One.
Yeah, he's sort of, you can see on his face that's about as much emotion as his show hasn't come far enough for this black.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Maybe it wouldn't be such a big moment if he doesn't take advantage of O'Sullivan's misfortune.
Very confident to take the pink on, but he hasn't potted it.
Yeah, the big moment almost becomes that one now, doesn't it? Because the red going in probably means nothing.
One.
That's the thing with turning points. You only really know, you know, when the match is all done. Could have been one for O'Sullivan, but back at the table immediately, looking to level this match at 4-4.
9. $16. 17.
Well, he'd be enraged to have finished there. He got into the cue ball too much.
24.
That'll really annoy him, especially with his, you know, his immaculate cue ball control. I think the fact that he was cueing down on the ball could be the reason, not an excuse for him, and just saying that had he been able to bridge it normally, I don't think he would have got into the cue ball too much and finished where he did.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 24.
Yeah, he's a little frustrated. That's the thing in this match. He's been so keyed into trying to get it won. It's not been one of those matches where, you know, he can't be bothered. Quite the opposite, actually.
There's no doubt that he's up for this match, Dave. You're absolutely right. You know, we've watched enough of O'Sullivan to sort of, how can you put it, sort of grade his, how much he wants to win. And of course, he don't ever go out there and not want to win, but you can see when he's completely switched on, and he is for this match. He's not winning him it yet, but he's still up for it.
Well, it's another big shot, this, for Panh. Great pot.
1.
Made a great sound, didn't it, this? That was middle of the pocket.
Very good. I mean, the other thing to say about that, if you think about the Hergo-Krang match yesterday, when he played the same opponent in Brentwood in the English, he played most of his shots left-handed, O'Sullivan. He was still trying to pot them. But he wasn't doing that yesterday, you know. So he is more up for this event than the previous one.
4. Five.
Yes, he's looking at maybe not having to play the cannon on the 3 reds. Possibility of a plant, perhaps. He was the top 2 reds I think he was considering, but if that's not on, he will play the cannon. There's your answer. It's either that or he thinks the bottom red of the 3 goes.
12.
There it is the bottom red. It does just go. Of course, that opens up the other pair of reds to the left corner. So, like that other friendly one, what a moment it would be.
20. $21. $28.
O'Sullivan looking slightly uncomfortable in that chair, knowing that he's out of his hands in this frame now. He would also be aware of the possible shift in the match if Panh could make the clearance. But of course, he's got to get himself on that red, and there's a right-handed player. If he got right behind it positionally, I really would fancy him. But he really needs to be kind of where he's queuing up now. Down the cushion, they're going into that pocket very nicely, but you've still got to be behind it. Beautiful. That is a beautiful shot. I suppose there's an argument he could have been over a fraction more, but look at where he has finished. Just reaching across, the angle's perfect. And like I say, they're gliding down the cushion. What a chance this has turned into now.
Well, there'll be 5 in front if he pots this, so he'll need yellow, green, brown and blue. And you have to say it would be another steal.
42. $44.
Well, he didn't pot that cleanly at all. And you saw the upshot of it. He didn't get nicely on the green. Just feeling the pressure, perhaps. Yes, the ball went in, but not as planned. He's taking the long route from green to brown here. And I'm sure this is not hard enough.
47.
So O'Sullivan is almost certain to come back to the table with a live chance of getting the frame one. The pink clearly is to Panh Junxu's advantage where it's placed. O'Sullivan just got a glimmer of hope now that the frame isn't over.
Yeah, this time not taking out the
47.
clearance, having potted that last red on down the cushion.
Oh, what a shot that is. What a shot. Doesn't want to be anywhere near straight. That will be no good to him at all. I think he has a slight angle as we watch a replay. It was a clean shot. Of course, he'll need the black as well. That's crucial. Does not want to be straight on this either. That's
9.
for sure. He has an angle. Of course, he has to force it, which means, you know, something could go wrong. He could miss it playing it with pace.
Well, Panh had the chance to make the clearance. Ronnie O'Sullivan needs the black, and it's 4-4. Well, it's only brown to black, but that was still a stunning clearance. They were all missable, but O'Sullivan didn't miss. 4-4. Game on again. Later. Mark Williams, the other member of the class of 92, he's also in action later against Tepchar and Nu. Judd Trump also 4-4 from 4-2 down with Joe O'Connor. In terms of who the winner of this match would play, well, Jackson Page is 5-4 up and in front against Ali Carter in the next frame.
Another terrific long pot. I mean, his long game has been good today. In fact, both Panh Junxu and Ronnie O'Sullivan have been very good from distance. It's been a really interesting match. Played to a good level. We haven't seen like a barrage of huge breaks, but it's been well contested between this pair.
Nine. Sixteen. 17.
Beautiful little shot again. And the Reds are in such nice positions here. Scattered around the centre of the table.
$24. $25.
Well, Sullivan won a dramatic 8th frame, but Panh a great long red, and what a wonderful scoring chance he has here to banish the blues of not sealing that frame for a 5-3 lead.
Well, all I can think of is that the middle red must pass, because he was very confidently around the table. From the first angle we had, it just looked like he was on a ball, but the middle one goes, yeah, that's a handy thing. He knew about it, of course. But
33.
He could make a lot here.
Well, we may as well say it. It's all reds and blacks, isn't it?
It is, and I mean, right now, surely it isn't the thing that's foremost in his thoughts, but he is on reds and blacks, and it's easier to stay on the black than go on to any other colour.
Mark Selby made a 1-4-3 in the qualifying round in Sheffield. Corin Wilson also made one yesterday. There's Zhu Ying just attending to the cue ball. Seems a bit of a task to get all that sort of chalk off, or whatever was on it, the dirt that's clinging to it. Yeah, it's a big visit, clearly, after in theory, being rocked by what happened in that last frame, but as I say, an immediate chance to put it right here.
41.
Goodness me, I thought he'd missed that. It went in very favourably off that bottom jaw, and
48.
makes me think that maybe he can't stay on the black now. Unless he can find something in there that we haven't spotted yet. I suppose if he plays this red, he could play on the black, but again, his thoughts will be about getting this frame one. Never mind a 147 that could happen. He's staying on the black now, all right, and maybe a blessing in disguise. The last positional shot went wrong, and he's recovered it.
$36.
Once again, he could have gone up the table there, but it was probably as easy to stay on the black. Next shot, positionally not simple, even though the reds are nicely placed. Nice shot. Nice control.
64.
Well, of course, first things first, get the frame one, and he's not too far from doing that now, and then he can give the 147 his full attention.
$65.
Still needs another red, though, to put the frame away. So this red for a 5-4 lead, and then who knows what will happen in the next few minutes. Well, it is November the 5th, isn't it? Are we going to see some fireworks here from Panh Junxu? He can now give this 147 his full attention now that he's won the frame.
It's very much on the cards, and obviously there are going to be problems, but I suppose to make one against this man as well, that would be quite something, wouldn't it? Never made one before, so a 147 against O'Sullivan, that would be quite something. And as you say, the frame has now won. He's got the luxury of knowing that. He's within a frame of the match.
Yes, we saw Zach Surety make one, didn't we, in China last season against Ding, and that just made it more special, I think. Pang's highest break 144 in competition. We've had, so far, 4 maximums this season. fact, the last player to make one, Wheat, has just gone 4-3 up. It's shades of Cliff Thorburn there, isn't it? Sort of blowing his nose. He did that at the Crucible in '83 against Terry Griffiths. Let's have a little break here, I think he said, didn't he?
Now this is where things get more awkward, not only because of the pressure of the situation, but getting not only on the red, but usually top side of a red to a corner pocket. Well, that's fine. That is fine. He's almost overcompensated, but it's beautifully positioned. It's a question of the red directly below the pink now. You know, is that potable from the right side? I think the answer is probably yes. The other red, the left red of the two, it might be the tricky one. It's a wonderful chance, it really is. Now, is he going to run through here and just move the red and the pink? That might be the route to a maximum. Because I don't think he's quite straight on this, which could be a good thing. Just a little brush off the pink and the red. Well, I'm not sure quite where the red will pop. That's the problem now. He's going to have to go all around the table. It's doable. I suppose he didn't want to overscrew, but now he's going to have to play a proper shot, and he's got to miss the bolt colours, and they're going to be hard to miss.
It seems in every 147 attempt there's always one massive shot, and this is it, isn't it, right now? Not just potting the red, but getting back for the black.
Yeah, I don't know if he had the chance to play a red to middle. He's not really done that in this break, because it's always easier to get on the black from those. But anyway, here we are. Well, it's the worst possible scenario. The bolt colours are was difficult to miss here, and he's got to pot the black, and not only that, he's got to somehow cannon the yellow out. Be one of the greatest shots ever in a maximum if he can achieve it all.
Absolutely, if he does it now, it will be very memorable. Well, the black's in, he hasn't cannoned the yellow, so he's going to take some shot to continue, but the break's not done yet. Imagine if he pots this, the crowd, look at them. They're willing him to do it. Well, being told to hush, it'd be one of the most spectacular yellows you'll see in a maximum if he knocks this in. Hang on. Oh, and he would have been on the green plum. But the break is over. The main thing, you've got to say, he's recovered from not winning the previous frame. He's made 120 and he's 5-4 up, one from victory. While all of that was going on, Gary Wilson has come from 4-1 down to level at 4-4 with Robbie Williams. And Jack Lazowski, Jarwee, that's 4-3 to Jarwee. So these games all very tense. Judd Trump still 4 each. He is in front in the next against Joe O'Connor, who does need a couple of snookers actually. Otherwise it'd be 5-4 to Trump. Sullivan taking on a long one.
Yeah, didn't look hugely comfortable on the shot, did he? Got up a couple of times. Well, the pressure's on O'Sullivan now, all right. He would like to do well this week. He's been totally focused on the tournament. He's not sort of going into it with anything but complete lights out, but he's not winning. He's not winning, that's the problem. He's up against a very tough opponent here, giving him very little, scoring well himself.
Yeah, Pang's break, I mean, it wasn't a maximum, but very impressive, bearing in mind how he'd lost the previous frame. He'd had every right to be really disappointed and his focus to be affected, but not a bit of it. Just got on with the task in hand. See the plasters there on Ronnie's fingers. He's had them on all week for reasons unknown.
Well, it's a good shot if he's landed on the black, which he certainly tried. I think he is okay. He's fine.
So he's in with his first chance to win the match.
8.
And O'Sullivan will be concerned after what happened in the last frame. But the fact it is to win the match, maybe that will, well, it will put more pressure on. He seems very cool right now, though, after, of course, not winning the previous frame. He won that last one in one visit. I think that says a lot about him. We saw it in Belfast, the way he finished off against Neil Robertson.
$16. $17.
Well, he's been very dominant around the black spot in these last couple of frames, isn't he? There's an example of the sort of player he is. Meticulous, good cue ball control, gives nothing away in sort of giving easy chances back. And he's still, I think, work in progress, but his scoring is improving all the time. The work he puts in, long hours on the practice table, I know that for a fact. Usually the last to leave of all the players practicing in the academy. All of these things for moments like this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just joining us, O'Sullivan, it's not that he's played badly, he's really competed in all areas, but Panh, well, stepping it up when you have to at the end of the match.
$33.
Well, it's all reds and blacks again. We've been here before, but it really is, the frame really is the important thing now, because
40.
it will also, of course, be the match.
It's all true, but I tell you, this is a period of break building which he's putting together, isn't it? The last frame, all the reds and blacks, as Dave said, getting right up to the yellow, which is where it all ended, and now in doing the same again here. And what a moment to be doing all this, playing like this. It's not a practice session where you can knock in break after break. It's the complete opposite of that. He's overhit by a long way. By a very long way.
40.
Yes, he's still on the red, but clearly he didn't mean to go that side of the blue.
Maybe that's just a little burst of adrenaline with the winning line coming into view.
$49.
It's a great recovery. It's happening again, isn't it? He doesn't. I don't think he wants that to detract from what he's doing. You know, he is on the reds and blacks again, and it's early in the break, and he could keep staying on the black actually. But now he is awkwardly placed. I haven't seen him play left-handed shots before, I must say. Something that's in the game more than ever. He's finished in a place which is uncomfortable, and the two reds are part of the problem that he's just queuing over now with the rest. How is he going to get through to it? It's very awkward, this, and he could really do with it going in.
Well, it is in. But this next couple of shots still important. This next red needs potting, and then maybe you feel that he will get the job done.
Yeah, not staying on the black though, whatever happens here. A rare colour up the table, which is not the highest value, just to keep the break going, but I think the decision was a good one to not get carried away by staying on the black spot, because this could take him down to two reds to the left corner, and all of a sudden he's on the brink of doing something that he's never done before.
Well, I was just thinking it in a funny way. I think it's helped him not staying on the black, because now he can just focus on winning the match, and that is the important thing, because it would be one of his most significant wins. And he's had quite a few already in his short career.
62.
But he's 2 balls away from knocking out the 7 times world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's competed hard in this match.
It's not a good shot. I mean, if you're going to play towards them two reds, play it with more pace and just shift them away from that area.
69.
So there's always one, isn't there? Last shot that you've got to put together, and this is awkward queuing. You know, it's conceivable he could miss this. Didn't though. Very good. And I go back, I said it earlier, but I will go back to 2 matches he played in the space of around 5 days. Panh Junxu, where he lost to Chris Wakelin from 50-odd in front in the decider, and he looked very disappointed. A few days later, Mark Selby, 57-0, he led. Selby cleared to the black, and he looked a very disconsolate figure walking off. 2 defeats of that kind, so close to each other
78.
in ranking events.
What a finish. You know, these breaks, they're studious, aren't they? It's not sort of exhibition stuff. It doesn't have to be. He's really focused hard. He lost a bad frame, really, previously when it went 4-4, but my word, he's responded brilliantly.
I mean, he's played 2 near-perfect frames in a row.
85.
This is very good, and I'm very pleased for him. You know, if hard work and dedication counts for anything, and we're seeing it here, and it's nice to think that
86.
you'll have a few things go wrong, few reversals, but are capable of coming back better and stronger. And I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, his reputation is growing all the time, isn't it? And a lot of people, of course, will take note of this result and the performance. The way he's finished off, it looks like it's going to be back-to-back centuries.
92.
Both of which, actually, could have been maximums.
93.
So the black will be for a brace of centuries to conclude one of his best ever wins. And who knows now how far he can go. He'll have Jackson Page next.
100.
A lot of people thought it might be another O'Sullivan-Carter matchup, but they've both been defeated by younger opponents.
101.
Chris Wakeler, I can tell you, has knocked out Sean Murphy 6-3.
$107.
Well, often the man in the chair on the receiving end of this has produced a burst of form when he most needed it. You think back to last year's UK Championship, what he did to Ding Junxu in wheeling off 3 frames in no time. I mean, this has not been in no time. You know, he is a slower player than O'Sullivan, but he's been as effective in this as a number of the other times when O'Sullivan has been doing it to his opponent.
$116.
He must be feeling great, mustn't he? He must be feeling terrific. This is the victory lap. He's got the match won. He's made back-to-back hundreds. And he's able to enjoy this moment of potting balls, knowing that the match is all over. He's beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan in a major event for the first time.
Yes, and O'Sullivan was fully committed to this match as well. He'll be disappointed.
123.
So, on bonfire night, Panh Junxu has shot down the rocket. What a sensational finish. Back-to-back centuries for the world number 26, and he is delighted. What a win for him, and what a performance as well. O'Sullivan's journey in Nanjing ends in the last 32. It's Panh Junxu who moves on to round 4, and if he can continue in this vein, he'll go a very long way. Panh Junxu the winner, 6-4.